Hey there, it's me, Chet. I don't have a guest tonight. I was actually on vacation. We left on Friday, and we actually just got back last night. It was pretty awesome. We went out to Texas and saw family out there. And a lot of thanks to Jen and Amy for hosting us. Appreciate it. We had a lot of fun. Anyway, so I did not plan a guest this week because I did not know how busy the week was going to go, and I was pretty accurate. I asked, I asked Vanessa to come on. She says no, as usual. I asked the girls, and all of them wanted to relax, and I don't blame them at all. Um, and the reason I probably asked everybody is it's nerve wracking doing this all by myself. Yeah, it's a lot easier to carry a conversation when you have somebody, obviously. So it's a little weird. Um, I actually wonder how pastors at church do it. Um, that's impressive, man. They can stand up there for 45 minutes or so and deliver the sermon, and it's good. They do a really great job. So shout out to anybody that can really talk for any length of time. And I don't know if I'm going to go like an hour or whatever talking, but I just wanted to really just chat a little bit, talk about some thoughts I have, and whatever. And I said I would put out a podcast. I would try to do at least once a week, and I'm still trying to do that. So this is what you get. Either listen to it, don't listen to it. I appreciate if you do. And if you do listen, I would actually appreciate some comments back this time because, um, and even if not comments, maybe some connections because I am looking for specific people to interview, specific types of people, I should say. Um, and again, this is very random. I will talk to just about anybody as long as they are respectful, honest, um, not a danger to my life, obviously, or my family's, because usually I will try to invite them here, and this is in my home. So think about that. I will do virtual. Obviously, I've done a few virtual podcasts, and it's been fun. It's a little more difficult, honestly. But it's obviously a work in progress for that, but it's going pretty well. I think the guests I've had on, I've listened to all the podcasts. I think the guests I had on virtual were just as engaging and awesome as the ones I've had here live, or at my desk here in my office. So it's been pretty cool. So I realized from people telling me, "Hey, I thought you were talking about sandwiches and you didn't sing." Like when Kelsey was on, and you know what? That's right. Kelsey was my third guest. Her and I did not sing. So Kelsey, you'll have to come back on and sing with me. Your pick of a song, maybe. Probably Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. There, I just sang a little bit. Um, Sandwiches, Bill. I know we kind of talked about sandwiches. Shout out to your mom with the strawberry jelly, strawberry jam, but I know you have some very good opinions and thoughts on sandwiches. So I'd like to have you back on someday, and we'll get into that a little bit as well. So yeah, certain types of people I want to talk to. Those big cranes that you see at the top, like the building of skyscrapers. Um, a crane operator, I think, would be really fascinating to talk to. Like, I think that job is just a very, very interesting job. Um, and on that note of jobs, like I would really talk to just about anybody, like in their profession, um, about random life stuff as well, but also their profession, whether it be, let's say, a farmer, a rancher, um, truck driver. I really don't care. I just think like what everybody does is mundane as some of our jobs are, or tedious, or some of our jobs are, let's say, they're boring at times and they suck. Other times there's very interesting parts of our jobs. Sometimes it's people, sometimes it's what we do, and I think it's fascinating to talk to. I think it's interesting to learn what people do because you learn really how does our world work. Because without you at that job, or your friend at their job or whatever, stuff doesn't happen the same way. So I like finding out about stuff like that. So yeah, there's that. I have quite a few things, questions I was going to ask people, or things I want to talk to, but what ends up happening a lot of times is I'll throw my opinions in there, or things like that. But with guests, I try to talk to them more and engage them more because I want to hear about them. I hang out with myself all day long, and I know me. But yeah, I want to know more about them. So yeah, so a couple things I've seen. It's graduation still. I think it's fair to say it's still graduation is going on. Um, so I'm gonna talk about that a little bit. I'm gonna do some big thanks and shout out to my wife. She was absolutely excellent. Just this last week, it was a very busy and stressful week, and she was awesome. She was fun. So I really appreciate that. Shout out to my kids. They traveled really well. Going out to Texas, we took a flight. We went out, and yeah, the flight out was awesome. Flight back was great. They travel really well. So I really appreciate that too. So shout out to them. Um, and I will say on Friday, Jade Bell, who was part of my first guest, my oldest, she just had her eighth grade promotion. And so a big congrats to her. It was pretty special. It was pretty fun. It was pretty awesome. And it was neat. They had their, what do you call them? Their visionary. There was two students, male and female, and they both got to give their visionary awards speeches. And they both did a great job. It's tough in eighth grade, especially in front of a crowd like that. It's tough, and they both delivered real well. So shout out to them. They did great. What else was I going to say? So did you guys? I saw on the news last week at one of the graduations, this high school kid played the national anthem on an electric guitar, and that's the first time I'd ever heard that. And so I was going to look it up on YouTube, and apparently a lot of people have done that over the course of years, and I think that's awesome. I think it's really neat. I think how someone has that talent and will actually have the nerve to get up in front of the big crowd and play that guitar as a solo and do that, or sing. The people that get up and sing like in front of their class, the audience, the whole thing. Now, granted, they've probably been doing it for quite a while at that point in their life, but still, it's a very important day, and you certainly don't want to mess up. So, shout out to everybody that does that. I think that's something else I'm going to ask some guests on is if they've ever had, awesome moment for national anthem, singing it, performing it, whatever. Because I think that's kind of neat. I don't think I ever have. I don't think I've ever sang it outside of being part of the crowd and audience. I don't think I was ever really part of playing it or singing it anywhere like as the person that was supposed to be doing it. So I don't know. I mean, my life's not over. Who knows? But yeah, I think it's interesting, and certainly, shout out to all those people that do that. What else is there? Yeah, there's that. Oh, so I'm going to tell you about my traveling. So we went to Texas, and so I did not get to go to my normal church. And if you know me, and even if you don't, going to church for me has become pretty big for me, especially since I got baptized. But even before that, I was listening online for quite a while, and Vanessa kept saying, we can't hear it and whatever. And so we just started going, and it just became like a Sunday thing for us. And there's definitely some encouragement, for sure, to get the family going. But it's pretty good. I will say we definitely have better Sundays when we go to church, and we go just about every Sunday now. But you can definitely tell a difference in the week on when we miss it. So I think it's interesting. And like I said, if anybody ever listened to my first podcast and you saw me open up, that's one of the things I was going to talk about is my religion. I think it's important. And yeah, that's about that. So when I was in Texas, I went to a different church, and of course, none of my family came with. Of course, the girls, Vanessa, no, but I went by myself, and that's fine. They right to their own, stay home, do whatever, relax, you're on vacation. And even so, they didn't have to come. And I still went. I found a church that I went on their website, and I kind of looked to see this is what they believe, and this is, the type of church that they are. So I did my due diligence, and I found about two or three that I wanted to check out, or that I figured I could check out. And the one I just kept clicking on, so that's the one I went to. And it was neat. Really nice people. I mean, very welcoming. They're like, "Hey, how are you?" I was like, "Wow, you guys are really nice. Thank you so much." "Yeah, I'm good." And I mean, we do the same thing at our church, but still, it was very different because I was out of state. And the pastor delivered a really good message. I appreciate it. I'm glad I went to it, and I definitely recommend it if you're ever traveling or whatever. And if you are a churchgoer, definitely, give a local church a try. It's pretty fascinating. They definitely deliver messages differently, or the sermons differently than you're probably used to. But it's pretty awesome. I really appreciated that. So I'd tell you the church if I can remember it. I really sucked at that. Yeah. So other than that, the trip itself in Texas, it was good. We had a lot of weather. We had some. Apparently, tornado watches were supposed to be in effect. I don't know if they ever hit. I think there was a tornado earlier, within like an hour or two of us, maybe. I can't really remember, but there's somebody, the tornado chasers, the Texas tornado chasers. I'll have to remember. My sister-in-law sent me the link, and it was really neat. They have a lot of really cool videos. I used to want to chase tornadoes when I was in high school, and then just out of high school. I always thought that would have been cool, but boy, would my life be different. That's something else. I'm going to talk to people about that too, but here's something for you. One different action in your life could completely change where you're at right now. Or would you still be in the same spot you are now, but a different type of success, or different, whatever. Maybe one more kid, maybe one less kid, maybe a different wife. It's very interesting to think about, what might have been, or what could have been, or what would have been different. Even in a negative way. Like, there's several decisions I made that probably would have been really, really terrible, shitty decisions. Sorry for the swearing. But really, like, that's kind of the truth of the matter is, like, there's a lot of decisions I could have made, absolutely terrible, poor decisions. I mean, I'm glad I didn't. And that's tough to do for a lot of people as well. So, I will say I'm not one of those people that go, I wish I blank. Because for me, I'm happy where I am. And even when I wasn't happy where I was at that point, I think somewhere inside I probably knew God was going to get me through. I may not have always been following and talking to God, but, I still, somewhere inside me, I still believed. So I kind of just relied on hope at that point. And that gets you through a lot. I'll tell you what, hope can do absolute wonders for you if you need it. Couple other things. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, so I'm going to look more into this, but there's an asteroid. I heard this story about, a month, 2 months ago, maybe. Like in 15 years, there's an asteroid, and it's headed towards Earth, like it's going to get close to us. But, the projections are it's not going to hit us. Great. But then, like 2 months later, the chances went up a little bit. I'm like, okay. And nobody made a big deal about it. They reported on it, but nobody really made a big deal. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Like, and not that I think it's going to hit us, because I really don't. I just thought it was interesting. Like, oh, so the closer it gets, like, that's how much closer it would be to us, obviously. So is that why the percent went up? Or is there like, no, something hit it and it's maybe headed towards us a little closer now? But I don't know. I always wonder if, and I kind of laugh and chuckle if that story is going to become big in another few years. Like, oh, hey, the asteroid. So as a just in case, I hope there's like a Bruce Willis team, working on how to destroy the asteroid. Just, throwing it out there. And as he says, you're the government. You think this shit up all the time. So if that is the case, I hope you guys are doing that. So yeah, spiritual guy. Oh, this is an interesting question, and I kind of want to wait. If there's anybody who's really connected on the spiritual side, and you want to hang out and talk to me for an hour and come on the podcast, I'd really appreciate that too. Or if you know somebody, send them my way. I'd like to talk to somebody about cheese and wine tasting, maybe together too. I think that'd be neat. I've been to, I don't know, at least I think 2 different wine tasting parties. It's very interesting. It the way you're supposed to taste the wine, and swirl it and do all the what I call bougie stuff. It definitely it was very interesting. Um, and now that's when I drink whiskey, I kind of approach it, and I did some background searching on how I should actually be tasting whiskey and and sipping it and whatnot. Um, so I definitely appreciate whiskey more now than I did say probably 10 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe even. So I appreciate that. One of my buddies, shout out to Jay. I hope Jay comes on here. Um, him and I have been drinking whiskey for a bit now, and it's really neat. Just the different flavors that they put in and everything. It's pretty cool. So, and he makes a great old fashioned, by the way. Let's see what else I got. Music. How do you pick out your music while you're driving? It is one of my biggest struggles sometimes. It's like, what's your mood? And then what song fits it at that moment? I don't know if you ever watch, and this is my old school coming out, but if you guys watch Jerry Maguire way back in the, I think, 96, 97, and he's in a good mood. He's in his car, tops down, it's convertible. And he finally lands on a song after he passes like 2 or 3 other. They were good songs, just not what you want to hear. So that always cracks me up. I feel like that is me so much, especially on a Friday. Um, yeah, come Friday and when I'm done with podcast and the music's kind of stale at that time. Because with my job, I tend to listen. I always have an earbud in, unless I'm on a meeting. But it's sometimes very difficult to be like, what am I listening to now? So I'll shout out to 1 or 2 people. I call them my Friday music DJs. Like I need a rest of the afternoon pick from you. So, but yeah, I think it's interesting for that, like how people pick out their mood or their songs. Obviously, it's mood based, I would assume. But like, let's say you're just in a, I don't know. Let's say you're in a good mood and you want to hear whatever type of rap, hip hop, rock, country. I really don't care. Is there like what's the go to? You know what I mean? That's where I struggle sometimes. Um oh, aliens. Do you believe in aliens? Um I don't know if I've talked about this yet, but I do. I do believe in aliens. I believe in other worlds. Um and if anybody ever wants to talk about that on here, I think that'd be cool too, because I just I've had people be like, "Well, I believe in God, so I don't believe in aliens." And from my perspective, is well, why couldn't God have created more than our world? Maybe there's other worlds, and kind of did the same thing. Um, it doesn't have to be an exact replica of Earth, obviously, um, but yeah, it in my brain it makes sense. So if anybody thinks I'm wrong, okay, that's fine. Um, and if you want to ever talk about it, come on the podcast and hang out, and we'll give that a shot for a while. Okay, the guy sailing from what was it? I think it was Oregon to Hawaii. I'm going to find his name because I did not do him justice when I was talking to Bill last week, but he did make it. So shout out to him. And as an update, I did reach out to him to see if he wanted to come on the podcast, but he does have like 1.5 million followers or something like that. So I highly doubt that my tiny little podcast is going to meet his make his attention. But it's Sailing with Phoenix. Oh, I'm sorry. He's up to 1.9 million followers. So if anybody has a way of getting me in contact with him other than me sending him a IM through Instagram, let me know. I'd really love to talk to him. I think that journey just sounds incredible in what he did. And some of his videos, he sounds like just an awkward social person. And I love talking to those people. Some of my favorite people to talk to, if you want the truth. Um, yeah. What else did I think about this week or talk about? I keep a notepad and I keep a book because usually the people I want to talk to, there's a firefighter I'm going to talk to, um, my nephew-in-law. Anyway, so he's going to come on hopefully next week. I'm going to get him on, if not the week after. My brother is going to come on. My middle brother is going to come on. I have a lot of stuff I want to talk to him about. He's been into motorcycles for a long, long time, and just some fascinating. I just like listening to him talk about a variety of subjects. So I think that'll be a good one too. Let's see. Sorry, I had quite a long list of stuff here to give you an idea. I don't know if you can see that, but that's my phone. I'm scrolling, and it's a lot of crap that I want to talk about with anybody really, like taste buds changing in kids. So, okay, I had the girls on my first episode, and what I found interesting was, they're talking about sandwiches and everything. They all used to like the same boring sandwich. It was just like a plain turkey and cheese sandwich. That's it, nothing else. Or maybe a ham and cheese. I'm like, let's venture out and let's get a ham and cheese. Oh my gosh. And now what they eat and how their taste buds have changed is really incredible because how they'll order a sandwich or their food, like when we go out, wings. Jada Bell loves wings, right? Like buffalo wings. And it's very interesting how our taste buds change and evolve. And I kind of wonder now as an adult, and I should probably really look this up. And I don't know why I haven't already, but I assume because I can't remember how long a taste bud stays on your tongue. It's like, what is it, like 2 weeks or something like that, 20 days. And I think that's when you lose your taste bud. Like, I think like the taste buds are replaced, if I remember. And if I'm wrong on that, somebody let me know. By all means, comment and be like, hey, the taste buds, whatever. Let me know. But what I find interesting is, like, I know I used to hate, green peppers. I used to hate green peppers. And I can still tell a green pepper apart from a red pepper, yellow pepper, the orange peppers, whatever. And I'm talking about the bell pepper family, just to be clear. But a green pepper, I hated. I absolutely couldn't stand them. It wasn't as bad as celery. Celery is still like poison to me. Yep, it is. Sorry, that's how it is. Celery is poison. But green peppers, I can actually eat a bit now. I don't mind them in my food. So I think that's interesting because I really could not stand them. They were almost like celery to me. Celery, people are like, oh, well, you need to eat it with peanut butter. No, I don't. You know what you need to do with celery? Throw it away. That's where it goes, in the trash. Nah, I'm just kidding. All of you celery people, you guys can eat it. I just not for me, and it smells terrible too. People like, you can't even smell it. Oh, I promise you, I can. All right. Communication styles being different in person. I think that's interesting. Watching people's communication styles. Um, yeah, I always like watching people, whether they're talking to each other, like, in a conversation, or maybe they're delivering a speech. It's interesting to watch. You can definitely tell people that have practiced on speech giving. That's always interesting. Or the people that just go up and shoot from their hip like me. I do that. I mean, I practice for speeches a lot, but if it's something that I need to be more engaged with that, I want to know my material. That way I can reference it, kind of like I do with my notes. But usually I'll just kind of shoot from the hip and keep going. At least when I'm presenting something, I think presenting. Anybody can read off of whether it's a teleprompter or screen or whatever. Anybody can read it. And if anybody's going to be giving a any type, they're going to be running a meeting or showing anything, I apologize. I'm not trying to scare you, but really anybody can read off a screen. But if you can, whether you summarize it or give other details that may not be up in the screen, those of us in the audience appreciate that a bit more than just reading off the screen. And so obviously it takes some practice. Okay, what else is there? Oh, I was on Amazon. Yeah, I shop on Amazon. I was on Amazon, I don't know, 2 months ago, something like that. And I saved this stupid thing just because I thought it was hilarious. I didn't buy it. I don't want it. But essentially, it's like you take your computer mouse, like I think it's for the people that work virtual. So you take your computer mouse and you set it on this thing. And if I understood it, it like moves the little laser thing in your mouse to make it look like you're working. Because when when COVID happened, if you were working virtual, like if you were working remote, like I did, because I was 100% remote at that time, you could buy this stupid thing, and it would make your mouse look like it's moving around, you know. And I think that's hilarious because the company I work for actually developed or bought, I'm not sure which, they probably developed, where they could see how often your stupid cursor, your mouse cursor, was moving. So I think you probably know if you work like I do, after what is it, 5 minutes, I think, something like that, it'll show you away, like on your messaging service, whatever it is. It'll show you as away. And it used to be, oh, well, you could have it for 15 minutes and then you'd show available for 15 minutes. Well, then they took that away and it became 5 minutes. Yeah, this tells you a bit about what kind of job I do. And so during the COVID, when everyone was working remote, they brought that down to 5 minutes real quick, or they may have even done that before that. But then people would just they'd move their mouse once every 5 minutes. And so they developed a code to say, oh, well, look, they're not even working right now. And then I saw that stupid thing on Amazon. I was like, oh my gosh, like people are getting rich from trying to scam their job. Like, okay. I think it's funny how probably a lot of criminals are so incredibly smart. And instead of using their abilities in an quote unquote honest way, they use it in a criminal way. And I don't know, it's interesting how, again, life choices, right? On what you do. I think that's pretty funny. All right. I've talked about movies becoming reality. I really do think is that like manifest destiny. I don't know. I think that's definitely an interesting thought, though. Like and maybe it started with books, right? Like writing, people wrote books, and then that started becoming like reality. The books kind of started becoming more real, like what was being created, invented, whatever. And then movies now, and that's kind of what people are like, oh, that looks cool. I'm going to see if I can invent that. And lo and behold, you can. That scares the crap out of me, though, sometimes. Like, do you want to be running around the world with a bunch of dinosaurs? I'm not sure that's a good idea. Just saying. I mean, it'd be really neat to see a dinosaur. I'm not going to say it wouldn't. It would be. But I don't know. I say let's leave that in the box. Let's not take that one out. Oh, what else is there? Oh, okay. I'm going to tell you guys my theory about. I don't know if it's friendships, if it's just two friendships or relationships in general. Because I think at a certain point, your relationship should be considered a friendship of some sort. Maybe not a good friendship, but still a friendship, right? So here's my overall, and it's a very broad theory. Okay, so I apologize about that. Um, there we go. So I think the longevity for a friendship is about 5 years. I think at the 5 year mark, that's where lives, because I think your life goes through changes about once every 5 years. Like a big change. I'm not talking like, oh, you're in a different grade now, or I just started a new job. Sometimes it's the new job. Um, but I think once every 5 years, you are in a very different place in your life. Um, and either a friendship goes through that same thing, that same type of a life cycle where your friendship just grows apart and you're still cordial. Like if you guys see each other, you're still cordial. Maybe not. Maybe one of you was a complete dick to the other person. It happens, right? I have. I've been a complete ass. I apologize. I absolutely apologize. If I know I did something wrong, um, I will fully own up to it and I'll apologize. Like today, I was a complete jerk to my sister. I was tired. She knew I was tired. And then and it wasn't like it was just she kind of caught me at a wrong moment. And with your family, I think you can always be real, even though you should always be respectful. And that's the part where I was just like, something happened. I was just like, I kind of snapped, and she kind of laughed, and that kind of pissed me off, right? So you know, it's when that happens, you kind of feel like a jerk, but I'm sorry. That's how it goes. And the other person should also be strong enough to actually take an apology and be like, you know what, it's okay. But yeah, 5 years, and either the friendship crumbles for whatever reason, and or it doesn't. And then after that, I think the 7 year time frame, that's when you realize like you're probably going to have some type of friendship for the remainder of your life, usually. And it may not be a friend that you call every year. Like my friend Bill that I was on last week. Known each other since seventh grade. And I know I can still probably text or call Bill, and maybe not immediately, but within a week or whatever, we'll respond to each other. Um, and then there's other friends where you hit that 5 year mark, and for whatever reason, we just don't hang out or talk ever. And it is what it is. So yeah, that's my theory. And even, and here's the sad part, a lot of what falls into that is, oh, they're my best friend. I'm sure they are. At that moment, I'm sure they are absolutely your best friend. Um, and you can always support each other, even if your best friend closeness isn't there. Um, because, life goes on, and or life continues to move, and it is what it is. So if it ever happens to you, don't dwell on it. Move on. I promise you, there's a lot of people in the world, and a lot of people need a friend just like you. So keep on keeping on with that. Um, hmm. Oh, here's an interesting question. I want to talk to my friend about this. He was in the Navy. So, what is it? Submariners, whatever. Do they have soft shoes? And or do like battleship, right? If you're on a battleship, aircraft carrier, do you have soft shoes? Because I think probably not for aircraft carrier, basically any ship that's above sea. But for a submarine, like they have to go stealth, right? They have to go be like completely silent. So I would wonder and think that they would want soft shoes, because if something happens and they have to walk, you want it to be as quiet as possible. So, anyways, if anybody knows that, by all means comment. Otherwise, I'm going to have my friend Jerry on, and Jerry was in the Navy quite a while back, but I think he would probably know that answer for me as well. So hopefully I'll remember to ask him when he's on. See if there's anything else. I think that may be about it. Um, this was interesting. So there was a story. This is probably, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago is when I think I wrote it down. I saw it on the news, and it was so interesting. So this guy was killed. He was murdered. And at the sentencing trial of um, the guy that killed him, they used an AI version of the guy that was killed, the guy that was murdered. They used an AI version of him to deliver remarks, like a speech, to the killer. And so, something you should know about the guy that was murdered is he was a Christian. I think that's important because he talked about forgiveness. And that's what was said in the AI version is, how he forgave him, and, he understands how, life choices and paths can do what they do, and made the guy, the killer, into who he is. So I don't honestly know how to feel about the AI version of somebody delivering remarks like that. Um, you're basically you're taking the family and friends, and you're plugging in, what kind of person was this? Well, this is what he was. And so the AI spits out, is this correct? And they're like, oh my God, that was him. That was him to a T. Maybe it was. I just, I don't know. It's just funny. I say this and I see that my Bible over here. That's hysterical because I believe in creation. Um, so I guess, I have a hard time with the AI delivery of that. Um, I think if they're going to use it, I think maybe then the family should probably be the ones to say, hey, listen, this is the kind of person that he was. And, this is what he would want. But I don't know. And I'm not saying, like, forgive him, let the guy off and not get punished, because obviously he needs to be punished for that. But it was more just, I forgive you. I don't know. That's interesting. If anybody has any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear them. Or if you come on, you want to talk about it, by all means. But yeah, throw some comments in there. I normally say I ignore all the comments, but I haven't really seen any negative comments yet. So by all means, comment away. If I have time, I will respond, or maybe we'll talk about it. Yeah. So there's a lot of you. If any of my friends are watching, or family, I'm probably going to hit a lot of you up, by the way, just eventually. I don't know when. And I hope you say yes. I genuinely hope you say yes to coming on my podcast, because I think all of you are fascinating. If any of you know anybody, like I was talking about, like the crane operator I was talking about, the cheese wine guy, anybody you think that would be interesting for me to talk to, I'd really appreciate it. Just, send me their name or contact information. Like, make sure they know I'll get a hold of them. I would appreciate that. Yeah, I think it'd be kind of neat. So, other than that, I really appreciate you guys hanging out and listening, for anybody that does. And until next time, cheers. Stay cool.